So why we started this webinar series? I, as an immigrant, when I came to Canada, I face many emotional challenges. And I heard the same stories from other immigrant women. That made me think that I should do something to help all of us. I reached out to Dawn, and Dawn was really kind, and she agreed to help us. And then we started this webinar series to educate women about mental health, to educate them recognizing their emotional challenges and teach them when and where to get help. This is really important that you know that what are your emotional challenges and where you should get help. Professionally, she's a leading researcher in women mental health. She has more than 15 years experience. And she's a professor at UFC. She's also a certified coach. She has more than 50 publications in national, international journals. She holds local, national, international awards. And she holds Canada's only chair in women mental health. So this is all about her professional background. But personally, she's a lovely and kind-hearted person. I would say she's the finest lady I've ever met. She's amazing, a mom of 2 grown-up boys. She has a wonderful husband. And I think her beautiful family cannot be completed without her lovely dog, Spuddy. I'm really thankful from the bottom of my heart for all of the time, efforts, and energy she puts in to bring these learning sessions for our community
today. So we wanted to continue from our talk a month ago about what is a good relationship and how can we start to build good relationships or continue building them. And today really we want to kind of get into, well, how do we repair and reconnect relationships when they go off the tracks, when they go wrong a little bit? We want to talk about things today like, is conflict bad for a marriage? How do we deal with conflict? How do we cope with problems that can't get resolved? And how do we create solutions to conflict situations? And Afira, just so you know, I'm not seeing anybody right now because I'm on full screen. So will you just pop in anytime that there is a comment or a question? I do want to get you to write in the chat, just kind of a yes or no. Is conflict bad for a marriage? And I might escape that and go a bit smaller so I can see, but is conflict bad for a marriage? Actually, I will stay big. I'll just get you to...
You guys can write in the chat box and...
Yeah, just a yes or no. What do you think? I think in our hearts, sometimes we think, oh, when we have a conflict, something's wrong. It means a symbol or a signal that our relationships are not doing well and are not healthy. But how are we doing in the chat, Afira?
Yeah, so for some, just not at all, it's not.
You just agreed about everything. I mean, in the end, that would not be very satisfying, would it? It would be quite a shallow relationship, and maybe you felt like you couldn't really ever say what you needed to say. So we've discovered the problem is not having conflict, then the problem is not managing it well, not moving forward from the conflict, or like this Winnie the Pooh, staying stuck. So what is it like for you when you feel stuck in conflict? Just a couple words in the chat even. What does that feel like? What is that experience like when you're stuck in conflict?
Hey, Dawn. Hi, I'll just say one thing.
Yeah.
Speaking from my mind, of course, like I feel like that I'm not heard when I'm having the conflict with my spouse. But the important thing is that coming back to saying sorry and then, you know, accepting our differences and then coming back to certain agreement in the end is important. But then I think one partner has to bend down, don't you think?
I think, Afira, that is some of the work that we do together with individual ladies inside and outside this group, is we help them to get to their relationships by first working on some of the struggles they have. And I don't mean the struggles that keep them, that mean that they're a problem in the relationship. What I mean is some of those things that we carry forward into our relationships that make it hard for us to express our needs or to feel good about ourselves or to draw boundaries and stuff. So, I mean, some of that stuff comes from what we bring to our own circumstances. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
So let me carry on then. So strategy number one is really accept that conflict is normal, right? Accept that it's a part of relationships. And I think we've pretty much come to an agreement on that. So how do we deal with conflict then? You know, really the ultimate goal, I want to say, in the aftermath of an argument is to be able to talk about the underlying issues that started it. So let's keep going here. I love the way in marriage work, they call these kind of incidents that are difficult things, difficult conflicts in a marriage, they call them regrettable incidents. And I love that because they are regrettable. You know, the partners come away wishing it had never happened, wishing that they'd never said the things that they'd said, and wishing that they're not in the state that they're in right now. And I know for myself, if there's something wrong, if my husband and I reach a conflict and it's not resolved, that makes a bad day. I can handle so much stress at work. But when something goes wrong with my husband and we're in this unresolved state, it's just, that's when my stress really tops out. But these regrettable incidents can be opportunities to work together and grow as a couple. So strategy number two is processing. How do you process something after an argument? What are some ways? So we're going to talk about how to have a good conflict. And this, I guess I got the cart before the horse in some ways. This is like, how do you move forward from an argument? So here are some of the questions that you can ask. I love this one. How did we get here in the first place? Isn't that a powerful question? It's not threatening. It's just like, how did it get this far? How did we let it get here? Why didn't our conversation go well? You know, sometimes you might say, wow, man, I had such a bad day at work. It was such a stressful day at work. And I think that really made me just super sensitive to this issue. And then you can go, then that opens up a chance to say, oh, okay, well, what happened at work? What is the meaning of the issue between us? So let me explain that for a second. Every conflicts are not just words, it is the heart of dealing with of having a good conflict. And so I want to be able to talk about, there's a few steps. And yes, it does mean kind of helping our partner to understand, okay, this is where we want to go. It's like training our partner in some ways, but we can also guide our partner by just saying, this is what I need from you at this point. So think about this strategy as having two people. One's going to speak first and the other's going to listen. So this is where you might say to your partner, I need to share this, but I need you to just not say anything while I'm talking. Okay, so that's how you guide your partner through this. Basic steps are there, but I'm going to walk you through it. This person that you decide, so if you're the one that's going to speak, you're going to basically say, I feel X about Y, and I need this from you. That's it. Men want to fix, right? You want to feel heard, understood, loved, cared for, and men want to come in and fix the problem. We've got to say, I can't have you fix the problem. We need to work through this first about how we're both doing about it, and then together come up with a solution. The next webinar we'll talk about how do you create good solutions. But for now, this is the first part. You've got to understand where each other is at. If you don't do that and you move to solution, what a gridlock conflict is. I'll give you some examples that come up in our work. In-law issues, right? we always cycle around a particular in-law issue. Sometimes here it might be you spend too much time with your family, not enough time with mine. The grandkids spend too, you always take the kids to your parents and we hardly ever see my parents, right? Might be spending money, might be a gridlocked issue where there's constantly an issue about, I think the husband, partner thinks you should spend this amount of money on groceries you want to spend, you can never get it under this amount, or spending money in general, right? Express their freedom. See, that's a dream. You want your children to have freedom you never had, right? And that comes up in a parenting conflict, but really it's rooted in a dream. My dream for a property, one of the things I love peace, quiet, animals. I've been very grounded in farm environments all my life. So getting back to a farm for me is not just about living on a farm or living on 20 acres. For me, it is getting back to feeling this grounded peace that I've had since. I'm so glad you raised that. Next time we are going to talk about compromise in detail, but it is essentially, what are those things I cannot let go because they are absolutely core things that must exist, or we have to have. And then there are those other things. So there's almost like a two circles. There's the things which are my core needs or whatever that I cannot bend on. And then there are those things I can bend on. And each of you has those things we cannot bend on. And then in love, we protect each other on those things that are core values, our core dreams, our core things that are important. And then there are those other things that we do. And so part of compromise is knowing what can we bend on and what can we not bend on. And what I'm hearing though is, and again, let's dig into this more, Fira. Can you please make sure we write that down to dig in? Is, what does that look like culturally? And what does it mean when your husband can support you in those core values, even though your in-laws don't? And what does that look like? And how have you guys managed that? But Afir, I do want to, let's leave that for compromise next time. And I think what I'm understanding is, these are all important things, right? We have to learn how to deal with conflict, how to know what our dreams are, manage our dreams within our relationship, and know how to compromise and know how to reach those dreams together. These are all part of the same thing. It's not one over the other. These are all part of treating me like a daughter, right? That was my dream. I didn't even realize it until I just said it in this moment. That was the dream. But it just couldn't be. She couldn't do that. So I thought, the minute that I thought about her as a friend or a neighbor, I could release any expectation. I could be gracious and kind. I didn't expect her to help me with the dishes. I didn't mind if she sat there while I did all the work because I wouldn't expect a friend or a neighbor to do that. So that helped. It was like lightning shift for me when I did that. It was all of a sudden I could go, okay, I get it. That was the dream.
Yeah, Dawn, this is really a nice point that
talked about that. Calm down when needed. So we've talked about hand on heart before.
yeah.
We've talked about, here's a good one, you guys. This is one I just learned. When you are really escalated or anxious, this works great for anxiety, opening and closing your eyes. Did you know that the back of your eyes are connected? The back of your eyes actually is brain cells. So your eye is kind of shaped like this in your head, and the back of your eye is made of brain cells. And so when you open and close your eyes, it actually directly connects back into the brain where your emotions are flooding. So when you feel emotional and flooding, simply focus on a point, close your eyes, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. Open your eyes, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, 4, 1,000, 5, 1,000. Close your eyes. Opening and closing your eyes is your eyes marvelous. So that's a new calming strategy. And then just a quick review of all the strategies. Number 1, accept that conflict is normal. Strategy number 2, remember those questions that we're processing the problem after with that special one. What was the conversation we really needed to have but didn't? Strategy number 3, that listening and validating strategy. Remember, you're going to talk, your partner's going to be quiet, you're going to tell them what you need. I feel X about this situation, a feeling, and I need blah, something positive. Strategy number 4, accept that there are conflicts and problems which will not be solved, but which can be managed. Think of my mother-in-law. And strategy number 5, calm down when needed. Okay, I know we've done a lot of questions